Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, happy July, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. As always, I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my love. So this is the weekly Astro forecast for the week of July 1st through July 7th, 2024. All right. New week, new month, new energy. And this week we've got a new moon. So there is a lot to discuss tonight. All right. So I'm not even going to say it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's just a lot going on this week, right? Most importantly, the new moon in Cancer, which is coming up on Friday. We've got Mercury changing signs, Neptune changing directions. So we're kind of going to be all over the place. But I promise I will make sense of it all. All right. So before I get into all of the details, if you're joining me here live tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Say hi on the way in and don't forget to hit that like button, please, and thank you. It lets the algorithm knows that you like this content so that it can disseminate it to other people who may like this content as well. All right. And if you're joining me on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Hopefully, you get what you're looking for with this broadcast. And if that is the case, definitely hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell if you haven't already. All right. So let's say you're someone who's into horoscopes, right? But you don't know where to look, or perhaps what you're finding on the internet doesn't necessarily resonate. Don't worry, I got you covered. So if you are interested in getting your weekly horoscope, then you will want to consider subscribing to my text service where you will get your weekly horoscope texted to you every Monday. All right. And if you are interested, you are going to want to text the word zodiac to the number 855-826 5544. That information will be in the description box below just in case you missed it. All right. And as always, if you're someone who's brand spanking new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, or maybe you're not so brand new to astrology, but you still have no idea what's going on, don't worry, I've got you covered as well. So I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which is essentially the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying and understanding astrology, namely the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. It's an 11-page PDF document that gives you a quick summary on all of these so that you can start committing them to memory, because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science, and like any science, it requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created this cheat sheet. If you are interested, the link will be in the description box below. All you need to do is drop your email and you will be good to go. All right. All right. So if you want even more content, then I suggest that you join our channel membership and officially become a roommate here in the Astro Room. So as a channel member, you not only get extra exclusive roommate content, you get early access to all of the general content, plus you get 20% off of my products and services for life. All right. And it's also a great way to support the channel because I've got a lot in store for you guys over the next coming months and beyond. And so channel membership definitely helps the channel grow. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description box below. All right, so in terms of announcements, I will be going live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to discuss the upcoming new moon in Cancer from soup to nuts. I'm really going to break it down in my normal style, and I'll be doing that tomorrow live at 1 p.m. here in the Astro Room. All right. And last but certainly not least, I wanted to let you guys know that I have discounted my natal chart reading service. It's my signature service called the Blueprint. Trust and believe it's a lot more than you can typically expect from an astrology consultation. I'm taking $50 off this wonderful service. So if you are interested, the link will be in the description box below and it will be tagged. This is a limited time offer, but I definitely suggest that you sign up because spots will definitely fill up quickly. All right. All right, so now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's get into the week and talk about what this cosmic weather is looking like this week. So, lots going on, but mainly Mercury is changing signs, Neptune is changing directions, and we've got the new moon in Cancer. Now, if you haven't checked it out already, I suggest that you check out my July monthly astro forecast. I did it in 2 parts. The links will be in the description box below. I really go in depth about sort of the spiritual themes that we are engaged in, especially in this month of July, right? And a lot of that has to do with Neptune retrograde. So on Saturday, Saturn went retrograde in Pisces, and tomorrow, Neptune is also going to be retrograde in Pisces. And Pisces is such an interesting energy signature. It's the last sign of the zodiac, so it encompasses all. There's this element of wisdom inherent in the energy of Pisces. And so, with both of these planets in the sign of Pisces and both of these planets going retrograde, it's about tapping into our inner wisdom. Right. I believe that what I stressed yesterday was that it is definitely time to grow up spiritually. And these 2 retrograde planets are definitely going to help us do that. Now, it's interesting because we're at the height, not even at the height of summer, we're at the very beginning of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. So, more hours of daylight, it's hot, everyone wants to be outside, right? But the way that the astrology is set up is not to say that you can't go outside and enjoy yourself, but there's definitely some work to be done. There's definitely some inner work to be done. And you'll want to be intentional about carving time out for that. Because it isn't just about, oh, the planets are retrograde, inner work, blah, 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 blah. That's sort of kind of textbook stuff, right? But everything that's going on right now is in preparation for the very near future, namely 2025 to 2026. It's like we kind of have to get right within ourselves so that we can take advantage of and thrive in the energy that is to come. And that requires a lot of inner work. And it's so interesting because over the last couple of days, really, I've been getting a lot of these videos on my YouTube feed about people who are talking about how intense the energy has been. I don't know if you felt that way, but I've definitely felt that way. Like it's been some really trying times. It's been really emotional. A lot of things have come up to be released. And as painful as it is in the moment, let me not even say painful. I feel like sometimes it could just be frustrating because we're so conditioned to kind of go, 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 hustle, grind, move forward. And me personally, when I get really emotional or when I'm having, situations where I need downtime, it frustrates me because I feel like it slows me down. And I'm like, damn, I have all these things to do, but I'm feeling like depressed or I'm feeling down or I'm feeling heavy and intense. And that's by design. Everything is all about the meaning that you give to it. It's not about, it's slowing you down from getting to where you need to go. It's actually helping you get to where you need to go, like better. One of the major sort of themes and messages that I've been getting, not only in my personal life, but in readings with clients lately, is that, you know, we have to reshape and we have to sort of revamp how we think about things. This has particularly come up in the realm of relationships where it's kind of like, you want to be in a relationship, you want to be coupled, you want to have what you think relationships encompass, right? The beautiful aesthetics, the lovey-doveyness, all of that stuff. But what I've come to realize, especially, and I don't know why I'm being guided to talk about relationships right now. I guess this might be a message for somebody. But a lot of what you're seeing, and I'm sure you know this, is not real. It's curated. It's an aesthetic. It's relationship goals, right? But what is the real substance of a relationship? We're getting to a point in time where superficiality it's not going to last. And your tolerance for superficiality is going to get really, really low. I say this to say that as much as people want a relationship or want their current relationship to look a certain way, you have to examine what the substance is. And the substance really entails your emotional baggage, your insecurities, your hang ups, right? The common sort of relationship issues that most people deal with, things like infidelity, things like codependency, abandonment, all of these things are things that we need to work on within ourselves, either before we get into a relationship or consciously while we are in a relationship. And so that has to take precedence over someone who looks good or someone who, has everything that you're looking for in terms of career, car, lifestyle, all of that stuff. I mean, that stuff is important, right? We don't necessarily want to be with someone that we're not physically attracted to or that we don't like. But the inner work is so important because that inner work, once we engage in that inner work, it ultimately improves the quality of our lives and improves the quality of our relationships. So that you get to a point where you're not dealing with those kind of issues anymore because they're just not showing up. And I feel like people don't prioritize that enough. And, for some, this particular retrograde season may be a time where you really are intentional about that, where you're just intentional about figuring out your inner world, your inner authority, right? I think I said this yesterday when I went live. I was like, well, who is the boss of you? For some, right, we are beholden to society. We're beholden to, religion or groups that we identify with. Our authority lies outside of us. But for others of us, our authority is really in our emotions. And sometimes it's our emotions that are running the show. And I know you know what I'm talking about because I know I get like this sometimes where I'm just either impulsive or, I let either anger or even insecurity kind of drive the car. And it's beautiful when you think about it. It's so beautiful that the universe gives us the opportunities to work on ourselves via the astrology. Like the astrology is like, okay, this is what we're working on right now. Astrology will always tell you what the topic is, right? So again, I say all this to say that yes, it is summer. Yes, it's time to be outside, but don't get distracted from the work that you need to do. It's one of those situations where, you can do your homework now and play later. But those who are playing now and don't do their homework, by the time that homework comes due, it's going to be in a very tough situation. So take the time to go within, examine your inner belief system. Think about faith and what you put faith in. Faith is such a nebulous kind of topic, right? It's so hard to grasp it. But for many of us, we put our faith in certain things. And this is a wonderful time to examine whether those things that we put our faith in actually serve us. Because you may find that a lot of it doesn't. And we're becoming very much aware of this. It's the longest hours of daylight now. We have the most access to light, which means that we can see more. A lot more is going to become apparent to us. You're going to see where you're holding yourself back, where you're limiting yourself, or where maybe you're putting authority in something external that's limiting you. Okay, so it's really important that we do the work, that inner work that doesn't necessarily feel good all the time, but is super necessary, right? So apart from that, we've got a new moon this week. So it's really good to engage in introspection before a new moon, right? Because everyone knows new moons are about setting new intentions and planting new seeds. But you don't want to do it haphazardly either, right? One of the things I always say is that when you follow the flow of nature, things flow in your life, right? And so depending on where the sun is in, the sky, basically depending on what the astrology is, it'll let you know what topic to work on, right? So you want to look at where Cancer is in your natal chart. The house that Cancer is in your natal chart is the topic that would be best that it's the topic that you will want to manifest on, or in. I don't know why I can't say that, but you know what I mean, right? It's like whatever, let's say, you're Capricorn rising, so Cancer is your 7th house. For you, relationships, specifically committed relationships, would be the intentions that you want to set at this new moon, right? Now you have free will. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it is easier, again, when you flow with the flow of nature. But also, like I said, you don't want to do it haphazardly. You don't want to just willy nilly, oh, I just want this or I want that. And this is especially important with this particular new moon because it's in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a water sign, it's about our emotions. You're going to nurture these seeds that you're planting at this new moon with your emotions. That's why you don't want to do this haphazardly or manifest something that you're not really interested in or that you're not willing to nurture. The one thing that is sort of synonymous with nurture is commitment, right? When a woman is pregnant, right, and she decides to keep the child, you commit to nurturing this seed that is growing within you for 9 months, right? Some days you feel great, some days you don't, some days are absolutely horrible, right? But you are committed to this nurturing. So, whatever we're planting at this new moon in Cancer, we are committed to nurturing. We are going to gestate these seeds. And Cancer is very much the Cancer energy signature has a lot to do with motherhood and nurturing. So, it's almost like we are impregnating ourselves with these intentions that we want to set. I know that sounds really weird, but you should kind of think of it that way. And so you're going to nurture and love on and help develop this intention over the coming weeks and months. So choose wisely. All right. So now that we've gotten into the intro, let's get into the details and see exactly what we have going on for this week. All right. So first, we have what I like to call roar, and this is Mercury entering Leo. So when Mercury is in Leo, we kind of say things with our chest. We put our whole hearts into things, and we're very vocal about the things that we are passionate about. So our thinking and our communication is grand and confident. We're definitely exercising that throat chakra, and we're speaking from the heart with authenticity, and we are standing out and garnering attention, particularly with what we say, what we write, and how we communicate. This is definitely an interesting and a fun kind of transit, if I'm being honest. Next, we have what I like to call getting deep, and this is Neptune retrograde. So I really went into this in the live yesterday, but this is focusing on your inner world. It's also taking the rose-colored glasses off. Now, what's interesting about this Neptune retrograde season is that Saturn is also retrograde in Pisces, right? Both of these planets are in Pisces. Saturn adds an element of realness to Pisces. It grounds Pisces. Pisces is like a space cadet, all in the sky. Saturn helps ground it a bit. So with Neptune going retrograde along with Saturn, the rose-colored glasses are coming off and we're seeing things for how they really are, especially because we've got the sun in Cancer. So we have that access to light and truth. We're going to get a dose of reality, but that's ultimately a good thing. And then we're revisiting our dreams. Apart from Neptune being a planet of spirituality, it's also a planet of dreams. So many of the dreams are aspirations that perhaps we've had for a long time, perhaps that we think are outlandish or are too out there. We get to revisit that with Neptune retrograde, and that's a really beautiful thing. And then finally, we have what I like to call feel it real. And this is the new moon in Cancer. So this is emotional new beginnings. Motherhood, nurturing, and women may be the focus for this new moon. And creating, coddling, and developing something that lasts and that brings us emotional satisfaction. So this is a beautiful new moon that we have coming up. All right. So let's get into the week and see exactly what we've got going on. So today we've got the moon in comfy Taurus. Tomorrow, you can see we've got a slew of things going on. We've got Mercury moving into Leo. We've got Neptune going retrograde in Pisces. We've got the sun in Cancer square the north node in Aries. We've got Mercury trine Neptune, Venus trine Saturn, and the moon in Gemini. Lots going on, as you can see. Then on Wednesday, we've got Mercury opposite Pluto, Thursday, we've got the moon moving into its home sign of Cancer, whereby on Friday, it will reach new moon status in the sign of Cancer. Friday, we've also got Mars sextile Saturn. And then we close out the week on Saturday with the Venus square Chiron and the moon in playful Leo. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. All right, my love. So today we've got the moon in the sign of Taurus, and you'll see that at the upper right hand portion of the chart. The moon is exalted in Taurus, which means it's like the optimal placement for the moon because the moon likes to be comfy. And there's nothing that a Taurus likes more than to be comfy. Maybe being fed, but being comfy is definitely up there. So when the moon is in Taurus, it is time to relax. It is Netflix and chill. It's comfy clothes. It's comfort food. It's luxury. It's spa. It's all of that feel good downtime kind of energy. The other thing that I love about the moon when it's in Taurus is that it teaches us to stop and smell the roses and to appreciate and have gratitude for all that we have, right? Beautiful, beautiful energy. And so we're making our way to the new moon in Cancer at the end of the week. So the moon is currently in the waning phase. Now, Taurus likes to stay in his comfort zone, right? Hence why the moon is exalted in Taurus. However, when the waning moon is in Taurus, it's really important that you align yourself with what feels good and what is pleasurable. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is not only relationships and money, it's also pleasure. That's why Taurus loves good food. That's why Taurus loves expensive things and spa days, right? That's typical, stereotypical Taurus characteristics, but they are true. So anything that is not in alignment with your pleasure needs to go. And this is something that we often overlook. I mean, again, we're conditioned to grind, to go, to hustle, to do all of this. It's like, it doesn't matter if you don't get sleep. It doesn't matter if you don't eat. You just got to work, right? Like, you got to make $2 million a day, apparently. And Taurus is like, hell the fuck no. Taurus is like, I need my sleep. Plus, I need to eat. So Taurus is like, I'm going to slow down with all this. I'll get to my destination, but I'm going to get there looking good, feeling good, and with a full belly. All right. So tonight, take it easy. If you find that you brought work home, or maybe you are, watching this while you are working, I urge you to just stop, chill. Even if you're just sitting and listening and doing something else that you find pleasurable, do that. It's not necessarily the time to be on the grind. It's time to stop, smell the roses, and appreciate everything that you have. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so let's get into Tuesday. Tuesday, we've got a lot going on. So first, we've got Mercury moving into Leo, and you'll see that at the upper portion of the chart, the little purple guy is at 0 degrees of Leo. That's Mercury. Next, we've got Neptune retrograde. So I want you to look at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart. That teal colored trident is Neptune, and it is at 29 degrees of Pisces, and it will be going retrograde tomorrow. Thereafter, we have the sun square the north node. Again, at the top of the chart, you'll see the sun at 11 degrees of Cancer, and the north node is at 11 degrees of Aries towards the bottom right-hand portion of the chart. Thereafter, we've got Mercury trine Neptune. We already said that Neptune was at 29 degrees of Pisces, and Mercury is at 0 degrees of Leo. They will be forming a trine. Thereafter, we've got Venus trine Saturn. Venus is at the top of the chart at 19 degrees of Cancer. Saturn is at the bottom of the chart, close to Neptune at 19 degrees of Pisces. And then finally, we've got the moon in Gemini, and you'll see that in the middle circle. The brown moon, you'll see that at 2 degrees of Gemini. All right, let's discuss. First up, Mercury into Leo, and this is what I called a roar in the highlights. So this is about exercising your throat chakra. This is speaking from your heart and speaking authentically. I always use this example, and I always get it wrong. The Wizard of Oz, the Cowardly Lion, I always say that he wanted a heart, but no, he wanted courage, right? But that is very much the essence of Leo energy, is courage, and courage to speak up. It's about speaking from your heart, speaking authentically as yourself, not caring what people think about you, not concerned about looking a certain way or fitting in a certain way, literally speaking as you are from the essence of who you are. It's essentially shining. It is no coincidence that the sun is the ruler of Leo. The sun is the center of the universe and it shines. Whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whether there's a tornado, the sun is always out, right? That's Leo energy. So, this is a great time for you to speak up. It's a great time for you to get into a leadership position or at least allow yourself to be seen. This would be a great transit. Like, let's say you're someone who like owns a business, right? And you're looking to get more out there. This is a great time to ramp up your social media, but do it from a place of authenticity and only do it if it feels good to you, if you're passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, then it's not authentically you. All right. So keep that in mind with anything that you say or anything that you do during this transit because it fosters authenticity and it fosters roaring, right? It fosters really speaking authentically as yourself. It's really great for that, right? Now, it also gives us a childlike mind and it's fun. It's a very fun transit. Leo is lighthearted, it's childlike. So, this may be taking things a lot less seriously, letting your inner child live, all of that kind of stuff will definitely thrive during this transit. So don't take things so seriously. Even when people say things to you, right? Sometimes you got to let things go in one ear and out the other. You don't necessarily have to roar at everything that is being said to you, right? Not everything needs your attention. Be childlike, tap into your heart space and speak and communicate from there. All right. Then we have Neptune retrograde, which I went into ad nauseum. Again, it is addressing your inner world. Now, we're going to feel this especially intensely because Neptune is at the very last degree of Pisces. Anytime a planet is at the 29th degree of a sign, it's super intense. So Pisces sun and Pisces rising, you guys are going to feel this particular transit the most. Also, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, you guys are going to be feeling this as well. This sort of pull to go inward. And some of you may feel like you're wrestling maybe your old self and your new self, or you're kind of fighting with beliefs that you had or maybe beliefs that you want to adopt. All right. So be easy on yourself. This transit lasts for quite a few months. So it's not necessarily work that you're just going to do within the week or even within the month. This is like a slow burn over the next 4 to 5 months. So again, carve out the time to be intentional about addressing your inner world. All right. Next, we've got the sun square the north node. All right. Now, this transit is particularly interesting to me because, as you know, your north node is your north star. It's where you are headed. And the sun is sort of our personality, it's our ego, essentially. So, sun square north node, it's like your ego is kind of at odds, I'll say, with sort of where you're headed. It's almost like who you are now is sort of in conflict with who you are becoming. And I wouldn't say conflict because that sort of denotes like opposites, right? It's more like you know that you're stepping into this new persona, right? You know that you're becoming and embodying that which you desire, but you're still on your fuck shit. Or you're still kind of stuck in some karmic shitty pattern that makes you act a certain way. Okay. Hate to put it bluntly, but that's really what it is. So, this really is a great time for self examination. Not necessarily introspective, but more like, okay, what am I trying to be? Where am I trying to go? And what part of my characteristic, what part of my personality is preventing me from doing that? So it's great for self examination in that regard. And this transit won't last too long, only a couple of days. So how you are may be reflected back to you in your relationships Or it just may be, especially because the sun is in the sign of Cancer, this may be a time where you get emotionally triggered, where you get frustrated and moody because you're trying to get to point B, but you're still kind of stuck at point A. All right. So just be easy, let the transit pass, get the information that you need, and you should be good to go. All right. Next, we have Mercury trine Neptune. And I like this one because this is really a harmonious transit where you can really make headway in terms of your dreams. Mercury is currently in Leo, right? Well, it'll be teetering the line between Cancer and Leo. So we're really tapped into what we really want. And it sort of vibes well with sort of our overall big picture. And we're able to get our heart and our mind on the right page and think of things big picture. Think of the things that we want to achieve long term, our big lofty goals and dreams. This is a transit where your imagination will soar. This is a transit where you can really use the power of visualization to help you manifest the things that you want. So I will say that you will want to be intentional about doing that, even if it's for something like 3 days, because this transit will likely last 3 or 4 days. Get into some sort of think about like your big picture, whatever it is that you want, and commit to kind of really feeling what it would feel like to have it, to visualizing it just over the next 3 days, and then see what happens. I promise you, you will get movement in the right direction. Thereafter, we have actually one of my favorite transits, which is Venus trine Saturn. Venus trine Saturn. Typically, Saturn gets a bad rap because it's a tough planet. It's obstacles, it's limitations, it's delays, you need patience because it makes things longer. Saturn, right? But the one thing that Saturn is great for is solidifying things, right? Committing to things, locking things down. And when you have Venus trine Saturn, you're locking all things Venusian down, which are creative things, financial things, relationship things. This particular transit is great for committing in a relationship. It's great for making long-term financial investments, safe investments, not risky investments, right? It's also great for if you're someone who's creative, like if you are involved in a creative business, if you create for work, it sort of helps you get structured within your creativity. So if you're looking to monetize a hobby, if you are someone, let's say you're like a crafter, right? Venus trine Saturn will help you with the business side of your creativity. So it's great for that. It's a really great transit. Now, Venus is currently in Cancer and Saturn is currently in Pisces. So this has a lot to do with how you feel, right? Particularly something that you want to nurture. Cancer has a lot to do with our basic emotional needs. And one of our basic emotional needs is security, right? So finances may do really well with this transit, especially if you're looking to invest in something, start a savings plan, or work towards something for the long run financially. You're going to want to engage in that kind of activity beginning tomorrow, and I'll say for probably most of the week. All right. And then finally, we have the moon moving into Gemini. So, whereas we start the week off with the moon in Taurus, right? Where we're comfortable, cozy, we're feeling good and indulging in pleasure. We move with the moon into Gemini, and it's like now our brains are on fire. Now, this is going to be a particularly busy moon cycle in the sign of Gemini, and that will last for about 2 days because Jupiter is currently in Gemini. So between Tuesday and Thursday, expect your mind to sort of be firing on all cylinders. Expect a lot of activity. It could be a lot of unexpected activity. It could be a lot of activity that you're not used to. It could just be a lot of thoughts, which is a good thing, right? So definitely make sure you've got your phone out, your notes app, pen and paper, whatever, because you're going to want to memorialize these ideas. It's great for writing, it's great for publishing, it's great for transacting business also. Busy body energy between Tuesday and Thursday. Try not to burn out mentally, pace yourself, but get ready for activities to ramp up. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so on Wednesday, we've got Mercury opposite Pluto. So you will see at the top portion of the chart, Mercury is at 1 degree of Leo. And at the bottom of the chart, you will see Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. All right, so Aquarius and Leo, this axis, right? Because these signs are opposite each other. This axis has a lot to do with the collective versus the individual. Now, Mercury is in the sign of Leo. Mercury has a lot to do with thoughts and ideas. So, with Mercury in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius, this is like perhaps thinking differently than everybody else, expressing yourself differently than everybody else. Right? Sometimes when we follow our heart, sometimes when we are passionate about something, it doesn't necessarily vibe with everybody else. Everybody may be going right and we decide to go left because that's where our heart is directing us, right? So it's about standing out, right? Maybe being vocal about something that may be different from the group, different from society. Whereas Pluto in Aquarius is sort of revamping the collective, it's transformation of the collective. Now, Pluto is currently retrograde. So while the collective is being transformed, we are also being transformed, literally the way that we think, because Aquarius is an air sign. And Aquarius is all about improvement, innovation, and thinking about the future. So the way that we're thinking is undergoing a profound transformation at this time, okay? And then you've got Mercury on the other end of the spectrum. Mercury in Leo is kind of like, but I'm following my heart. And maybe what I have to say is not going to sit well with people. Maybe me expressing myself authentically may be different from the group. Now, whenever you have an opposition like this, it's like a seesaw. You kind of have to find balance between the two. So while you don't necessarily need to be a lone wolf, you don't necessarily have to be a sheep either. So finding a happy medium between the two may be how this transit works out for you. Now, you're going to want to look at your natal chart to see exactly where Aquarius and Leo are. That'll clue you into what topics this relates to. However, it really has this undercurrent energy of standing out versus fitting in and finding a balance between the two. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so we get to Thursday, and on Thursday, we have the moon moving into Cancer, and you will see that at the upper right hand portion of the chart. The moon is at 0 degrees of Cancer. So, not the new moon yet. This is actually what's known as the balsamic moon. It is the darkest part of the lunar cycle. Now, typically, when people want to do black magic, this is when they do it because everything is dark. The sky is dark, right? It's darkest before the dawn, basically. But this is the point where it almost reaches a fever pitch with respect to getting rid of what no longer serves you. The balsamic moon is great for banishing work, right? And when we're talking about Cancer, Cancer is all about emotions. Anything that doesn't nurture us, anything that doesn't speak to our basic emotional needs to go. I guess the best example of this would be like a relationship, right? Maybe you're in a relationship, but you don't feel loved, you don't feel accepted, and you don't feel protected, right? Then kind of what is the point of being in that relationship? This dark moon in Cancer right before the new moon in Cancer, it's really it might even bring those issues to a head to show you what you need to divest yourself of. Maybe you are in a career that not only doesn't pay you well, but you don't feel good about. That may come to a head to show you that, listen, this ain't it. Maybe it's time to shift gears, right? And to be able to see this right before the new moon is so important because it'll let you know what seeds to plant at this new moon. So, again, look at your birth chart to see exactly where Cancer is. That will let you know what seeds you're going to be planting. All right. And speaking of seeds, let's move into Friday. So on Friday, we finally have that new moon in Cancer, and we also have Mars sextile Saturn. So you'll see at the upper portion of the chart, the sun and the moon are both at 14 degrees of Cancer. And then in the middle, you will see Mars at 19 degrees of Taurus. And at the bottom, you will see Saturn at 19 degrees of Pisces. So this new moon in Cancer, seeds that we want to nourish, grow, and develop over time. Like I said before, it's like we are impregnating ourselves. Great thought, right? We're impregnating ourselves with a new intention that we are going to feed good food, give love, nurture, and help develop on the inside until it is ready to be born, perhaps at the full moon in Cancer during Capricorn season, which is about 6 months away. Not typical baby gestation time, but I think the analogy works pretty well here, right? So, we are planting new seeds, setting new intentions, and I will go into that in full detail tomorrow at 1 p.m. when I go live to discuss this new moon in Cancer. But for right now, start thinking about what do you want? But more importantly, whatever it is that you want, how do you want to feel? How does this nurture? How does this nourish your life? Start thinking about that before you start planting these seeds later on this week. And then we also have Mars sextile Saturn. Now, Mars is currently in Taurus and Saturn is currently in Pisces. Now, I like this transit as well because even though Mars and Saturn are both known as negative planets, when you put them together in a positive aspect, you get positive things. So, if there is something that you have been slacking on, right? Particularly, okay, perfect example. Mars has everything to do with our desires. So maybe your desire has been to eat better and to lose weight, but we all know it can be an arduous task to exercise regularly, to cut out the junk, to stop drinking, all of that stuff, right? It's arduous, it's a task. And admittedly, you've been slacking on that, right? Mars sextile Saturn is going to give you a little boost, a little battery in your back, and give you the motivation, but most importantly, the physical energy to do just that, to get back on track. Mars sextile Saturn is great for physical labor. It's great for things like construction, like surgery, even. Those are sort of textbook kind of examples of this transit. But the best use of this energy, if you have a task that you have been putting off because it's too hard or it's going to take too long, or maybe even if it's boring, Mars is going to give you the energy to do so. All right. So get to work. All right, get it done. You don't necessarily have to get it done, but you got to start it, right? Anytime we're talking about Saturn, we're talking about things that may take a long time. So this could be a large project. This could be some sort of thing that requires a lot of moving parts or whatever it is. Start it on Friday. You'll likely have more energy and be more motivated to start it and perhaps even see it through to completion. All right, let's keep it moving. And finally, we close out the week with Venus square Chiron and the moon in Leo. So at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart, you will see Venus at 24 degrees of Cancer. And you will see Chiron on the left-hand portion of the chart at 23 degrees of Aries. And then the moon will be in Leo, right next to Venus at the bottom right-hand portion of the chart. You'll see the moon at 0 degrees of Leo. All right. So Venus square Chiron. Venus is currently in Cancer. And so Venus likes to feel nurtured, likes to feel loved, right? It's this feel good sort of energy as it pertains to Venusian things like creativity, like relationships, and like money. Okay. Now, Chiron has a lot to do with our emotional wounds, our traumas, our insecurities. And so Venus in Cancer is all about kind of staying in your comfort zone a little bit, right? Not wanting to be emotionally triggered. Chiron invariably means, especially when Chiron is activated, it means that you're being emotionally triggered. It means that you may be reliving or refeeling certain things that have wounded you in the past or that have even traumatized you in the past. Now, Venus in Cancer is like, yeah, I just want to feel good. I want to feel pleasure. I want to feel love. I want to feel secure emotionally. Whereby Chiron is like, I'm triggering you because I need you to grow. I need you to heal these wounds. And that's sort of at odds, right? And so, especially when we're talking about healing, you kind of just have to go through it. When you put it off or when you resist it, it's only going to come back and it's going to come back stronger. So resist the urge to sort of want to stay in your comfort zone. When you understand why you're being triggered and what you can learn from being triggered, it makes the triggering a little less painful because you get it. It's not you just being hurt for no reason. And so resist the urge to sort of just want to be just coddled. And, Venus in Cancer can also be someone coddling you, someone shielding you from the truth, right? Kind of like a mama bear who protects you from the evils of the world. It's not that Chiron is evil or anything, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. It's like, don't shelter yourself from the work of healing that's trying to that you have access to right now. Feel it so that you can heal it. All right. And then finally, we move into the moon in Leo. And this is how we close out the week. And I like this because we will be on Saturday, fresh off the heels of that new moon in Cancer on Friday. And so now we're going to be in the active part of manifestation. That means that we are taking action steps toward the thing that we're trying to manifest. And so with the moon in Leo, we are childlike about it. We really get clear on what it is that we want in our hearts. And we have the courage to follow it. It's also a very light-hearted energy. So I will say that whatever you are manifesting at this new moon in Cancer, you may want to consult with your inner child and see what they think about it, how they feel about it, right? And infuse some of that energy into whatever it is that you are manifesting or that you intend to have in this manifestation cycle. It will feel good. And that's exactly the point of this new moon in Cancer and then the moon moving into Leo. All right, my loves. So that is the astrology for the week. So now let us get into some messages from Spirit. All right, so you know the deal. I will be pulling some cards for messages from Spirit. Now, I do it by sign. However, whether it's your sun, moon, Venus, Jupiter, North Node, doesn't matter. If it's your message, it's your message. And if it's not, it's not. So let it go. All right. So first up, we've got Aries. Let's see what we have for Aries for this week. Aries, we have traffic cone, which says caution. All right. This is a 32, which is a 5 in numerology. So something is undergoing change. It's like something is under construction for you, right? And so you may be required to take a detour but more importantly, what I'm seeing is like people are being detoured perhaps away from you. So if you find that you're not getting as many calls, you're not hanging out with people, like it's almost like your phone has gone dead silent. That's because people are being directed away from you at the time because you are under construction. And, you can't have construction and then have a whole bunch of activity on top of it. Like, you need to focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand right now is you and your improvement. So, this is a week where you may want to hang back from being all up in the mix. You may want to really spend a lot more time with yourself, but specifically your higher self, because you're under construction. Now, I'm being told, like, I don't know what is under construction. Only you do. And I get the sense that maybe you don't even realize you're under construction right now. So, meditation, prayer, quiet time, even will help you figure this out and make sense of it. But understand construction is a good thing, right? Because it helps improve something. You are being improved at this time, you're being worked on at this time. So, give yourself the space to engage in this, okay? Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we have for Taurus for this week. All right, Taurus, we've got phrases, motivation, never give up. All right, Taurus, it's almost like, so I'm seeing it's like you're running a race and you're getting tired. You can see the finish line, but you're not, there's still a ways to go. And so you're kind of just like thinking of giving up. You're thinking of taking a break. You're thinking of dropping it, whatever. Never give up. Keep going. You're almost there. Maybe you need a pep talk. Maybe you need a snack and a nap, right? But don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't surrender. Keep going. Hydrate. Get some food. Like I said, take a nap. Do whatever you need to do to rest temporarily and then get right back to it. All right. Because you will finish, you will succeed. You're just feeling a little right now. And we all go through that, right? Again, do what you need to do to feel good for the moment and then keep moving. Okay. Next up, we've got Gemini. See what, oops. Not going to take that one. Let's see what we've got for Gemini for this week. Oof. They're popping out all over the place. All right, Gemini. You've got two cards. The first card out you have is Succulence, which is resilience. And the second card you have is Smiley Face, which is joy. All right. There is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Okay. You have to be resilient right now. And I love the imagery, right? Succulents. They don't need that much water, but I believe that they do need some water. Okay. And so this may be a very emotional week for you. Okay. And there may be some tears shed. There may be some frustration. There may even be some anger with the fact that perhaps things haven't been working out the way that you've wanted them to. Perhaps you've been disappointed. Perhaps you've just been really working through some tough emotions or just having a rough go at things, right? But you are resilient. And there is, like I said, there is joy. There is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You will smile again. You will be happy again, right? Let the tears flow because they are watering these plants. Especially at this new moon in Cancer, like your emotions, especially if you're crying a lot, this is the water that's going to nurture these seeds. So let it out. Feel however you are feeling and know that this too shall pass and you will be back in this state of joy sooner rather than later. Okay. Next up, we've got Cancer. Let's see what we have for Cancer for this week. Cancer, you have the same card as Aries. You have traffic cone, caution, 32, which is a 5. But what I'm being shown is that it's not you guys that are under construction. There is a certain path that you thought you needed to take, right? Or you're going in a particular direction and there is this part of the pathway that's like cordoned off, right? It's blocked off. You need to take a detour. This is a happy detour. I feel like you're going to really enjoy this detour. It's going to be very unexpected. It may take you through the hood, but it's like, you ever gone through the hood and then you found like a really good spot to eat and the food was just banging. Like that's sort of the energy that I'm getting for you. It's like you're going on this detour that's going to take you to some place that's going to be your new spot. This could be literal, right? Or this could be figurative, right? Like something is going to become a mainstay in your life, but you wouldn't have discovered it but for this detour. So, don't get so upset when you've got to go in a different way or when perhaps there's some traffic or when things are delayed. There's going to be a happy surprise waiting for you along this detour. Okay. Next up, we've got Leo. Let's see what we have for Leo for this week. All right, Leo, we've got clouds, which is distraction, and this is a number 2. For some reason, I'm getting Venus square Chiron. All right. So for some of you, I'm getting like there may be a relationship or an aspect of a relationship. Doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but there's a relationship or an aspect of a relationship that may be stifling your growth. It's kind of like a distraction to you at this time. You know how you're just it's like you're sitting in the park on a beautiful sunny day on your back watching the clouds. Meanwhile, you don't realize that someone is pilfering through your bag. There's ants crawling all over the place. Like you're really not paying attention to what's going on around you and what you're being shown at this time because you're sort of all up under somebody. I hate to say it like that. Or like you're really just enmeshed in the feeling of this relationship, maybe not even the substance. So it's time for you to wake up a little bit, okay? And I say this with love. This distraction is really taking you far away from what you need to be doing right now. It's not to say that you have to trash this whole relationship. It's you got to give yourself some time to do your healing work. Okay? So do that. And I mean no shade by any of that. All right. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we have for Virgo for this week. Okay, Virgo, you've got 2 cards also. We've got Bullseye, which is focus, and Firefly, which is wonder. All right. So when it comes to this new moon in Cancer, you'll want to let your imagination soar. All right. You want to think big. However, once you do that, you want to hone in and focus on one particular thing. Now, I want you to pay attention. There's this 4, right? And then there's this red circle. Your stability is going to be a focus, I feel like, at this new moon, okay? But when I say dream big, I want you to paint a big picture for yourself. This stability, this focus, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, okay, I'm focusing on manifesting rent money this month, or I'm focusing on, $500 or whatever it is. Think bigger. This security could be a mansion. This security could be $1 million. This security could be a yacht, right? It could be anything. You have to broaden your perspective, but then hone in and focus on the one thing that you want to have. So essentially, think bigger. Don't limit your thinking. Don't think that you merely need to survive. You can plant seeds that will thrive at this new moon. So do that. Okay. Next up, we've got Libra. Let's see what we've got for Libra for this week and this new moon. Okay, Libra, I like this for you. This is coins, which is good luck, and this is a number 10. So something fortuitous is beginning this week. It may have to do with Mercury entering Leo. So I want you to take a look and see it where Leo is in your chart. I feel like once you get really authentic, once you really drop into your heart space, a new door is going to open up to you that perhaps will bring more money, that perhaps will bring good fortune, that perhaps will bring abundance. It's like once you are in alignment with your heart, the sky is not even the limit. So I feel like once you do that this week, something new is going to pop up for you. All right. I really like that for you. All right. Next up, we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for this week. Scorpio, we've got stars, and this is divine guidance. All right. This message is short, sweet, and to the point. Go to where you are guided to go. This is definitely the week to listen to your intuition. This is also very much giving North Node. Okay. So the Sun square North Node may be a transit that's emphasized for you this week in terms of who you are versus who you are becoming. And basically to mitigate that disparity, you're going to want to listen and follow your intuition. You are most definitely being guided at this time, and you're being guided in the right direction. So take advantage and heed whatever your intuition is telling you at this time. It's going to be super important. Okay. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we have for Sagittarius for this week. Sagittarius, we've got peace, harmony. All right. So I feel like this is going to be a week. All right. So currently, as the moon is in Taurus, right? What you do right now is going to set the tone and the pace for the week. So if you start off the week peaceful, if you're intentional about keeping your peace, that is how the week will flow. All right. So do that. That literally means tonight, take a night off, relax, get comfortable, right? Get into a space of gratitude and appreciation. But above all else, this week you are going to want to prioritize your peace and harmony. If things come up that are not in alignment with this, it's got to go. All right. So the tone that you set now is the tone that you will have for the week. Okay. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Let's see what we got for Capricorn for this week. Capricorn, we've got mirror, a reflection. All right. So this is definitely a focus on a relationship. Not necessarily romantic. Actually, I'm hearing more like a friendship. And this friendship is very much reflective of you at this time. For some, this may be a romantic relationship, a partnership, or even a business partnership, because the sun is currently in your opposite sign, which is Cancer. Especially if you are a Capricorn rising, then relationships, commitment is definitely a thing. But most importantly, this message is about what you are seeing being reflected back to you. And this may be a very sensitive thing because it's almost like if you have been emotionally neglecting your partner, you're going to see that being reflected to you. If work, if everything external, if your whole public life and persona has taken precedence over nurturing your relationships, that is coming right back to you at this time. So it may be triggering. However, it's great information. It lets you know where you need to tighten up. It lets you know where you need to direct your focus and emphasis and effort. All right. So this week in particular, you're going to see exactly what you've been putting out there because it's going to be reflected right back to you for better or for worse. All right. Next up, we have Aquarius. Let's see what we have for Aquarius for this week. All right, Aquarius, we've got Moon, which is emotions. There we go. 2 and 3, 23 make 5. Excuse me. Changes in emotions. I feel like you are going to be quite moody this week. You are not Cancer, but Cancer energy, especially with the sun in Cancer, makes us all kind of a little moody. So your emotions might be all over the place, right? And that's good because you guys tend to be slightly emotionally detached. Aquarius is an air sign. And it's so far in the future. It can be so quirky that it kind of doesn't have the capacity to really delve into emotions. However, I feel like this is the week where you're going to be able to do that, and your emotions have a lot to tell you, and most importantly, a lot to teach you. So pay attention specifically to how you feel this week. All right. And then last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we've got for Pisces for this week. Pisces, we've got B's, which is community. And this is a 37, which equals a 10, which reduces to a 1. So you may find that you start hanging out with different people, or there's a new community that you are a part of. Maybe you're literally meeting up with people, like perhaps at a coffee shop, or maybe you and your community members are brainstorming a new project or something like that. Either way, this is a social week for you where you're meeting up with people, you're exchanging ideas, right? Mercury opposite Pluto is going to be a thing for you this week because, on the one hand, you've got all of this group energy, perhaps group think, group ideals. And maybe what you have to say, what's really in alignment with your heart, is kind of deviating from the group. Reconciling that may be a thing for you this week. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong, they're right, or vice versa. It just means that everyone sort of has to meet in the middle and perhaps even compromise. Even if not compromise, be willing to see other people's point of view. But either way, community and communication is definitely going to be a thing for you this week. All right, my loves. So that concludes this edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week. Again, I'm going live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern to talk about the upcoming new moon in Cancer. And natal chart readings are $50 off I'm not going to say for the foreseeable future, for a limited time, but beginning now. And that information will be in the description box below and links to the video. All right, my loves, thank you so much. I wish you nothing but the absolute best for this coming week, and I will see you in my next video. All right, take care.